And we are live. Welcome to a brand new episode of Qué Pasó podcast. My name is Eduardo.
I'm Ernest.
Hey guys.
So, the hairy elephant in the room.
Yeah, Argentina.
Yep. Oh man, I am shocked at this one.
Javier El Loco Milei.
Viva
La Peluche. La Peluche has won. The hair is in, baby.
It's actually shocking, and I've told you guys that before, that to me it's kind of surprising that I never thought we would see this. And I mean, a lot of people are saying this is the first libertarian ever be president. And I'm like, yeah, it's like out of science fiction.
Yes.
Half the things this guy believes is out of science fiction.
I mean, yeah. I mean, he has his dog's clone, so that makes it already like a sci-fi president.
But by the way, like I don't know if he's the first tantric love instructor to also ever be the president of a country.
That's a good question. I mean, that will be an interesting rabbit hole to go through. But yes,
I don't want to go down the. I don't want to go down the Malay kind of deviancy rabbit hole. I'm more concerned about his politics than I am what the dude does in his shared bedroom.
Yeah, because guys, so this is actually kind of a big deal for the region as a whole, because here in Chile, the media was very interested and very invested in what's going on the other side of the Cordillera, because it's the thing is here in Chile is that we're used to the fact that Argentina has never been good economically. We're always used to the fact that for decades their economy is crashing. The buying dollars, very funny. We're getting used to that. In fact, I remember, and I still remember, when Argentinos will come from the border for a day, for like a weekend, to buy just regular stuff. At first, it was electrodomésticos, like refrigeradores, freezers, stuff like that. I mean, they will come in on Friday and they will leave on Sunday. And then they came buying food. And I was like, is it really so cheap in Chile that they can spare like a weekend just to come here and buy groceries? Is that how bad it is?
Well, I mean, like when I went to Uruguay in June, I remember being told by all of our mutual friend, Himataxi, that you go to if I wanted to, we could all go to Argentina because everything there was legitimately cheaper than it was in Uruguay, in Montevideo. And I was like, no, it can't be. And then I had this Argentinian friend, and he's like, oh, yeah. He's like, everything is cheaper in Argentina. He's like, why would you go and spend money in Uruguay when you can go to Buenos Aires and just, buy stuff there? I was like, okay. I didn't get a chance to go, but next time, hopefully in the next couple of months, I'll get to go on over and see for myself just how bad the situation is. That is, if our new libertarian love master here decides to fix the economy, which I hope he does, to be honest.
I mean, I think he has surrounded himself with people that are serious about changing Argentina's way, in at least in the economic sense. I mean, let's remember, Argentina is one of the few countries that actually puts tariffs on their exports, not only the imports, the exports. For Christ's sake. I mean,
consider also that their economic growth, and this is a factoid that I've seen in Chilean media regarding how we're doing economically. Argentina's growth rate is the same as the one of Haiti.
Ouch!
Just to give,
that is.
I mean, Haiti. Look. I will say I have love for the people of Haiti. I love the people of Haiti. One of my best friends has family in Haiti. But it's like, imagine that your country, a 40 million in population, like the country of Argentina, grows the same rate as a country that is a literal war zone server. There's literal warlords in Haiti at the moment.
Yes.
And it's tough for the people of Haiti. power to the people of Haiti, by the way. I hope and hope they stay safe. But just imagine that that's the comparison you get. Not with
And
Brazil, which even with the mess that is Brazil, is still doing better.
we also can't forget the fact that like at least 89% of Argentinians have received, or 89% of Argentinian households have at least one person who's gotten government support. So that shows you just how messed up the economy is.
Mm.
I mean, that's
Yes,
kind of a huge, that's not even a red flag. That is a giant Soviet sized banner waving directly in your face.
yes, and I mean this. How you say it? This and this and I wanted to talk about this. The
Hmm.
all the people living of the government in Argentina. They are.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we could say that Massa was a really good candidate because even with all the inconveniences, the hyperinflation and all that was caused during his watch as Minister of Economics, Minister of Finances, he got how many? Like he won the first round of the election, and he got a big chunk in the second round. I mean, and before the election, we were mentioning in past episodes that apparently Massa used the state apparatus to get more money in the pockets of the people that receive welfare.
Mm. Yeah, I remember.
So he basically, this is just to dimension this problem. 40% of Argentinian voters are basically a government customer base.
Mm.
This is outrageous. I mean, this is no way to live. This is no way for a country to be sustainable in the long term.
It is because, but also consider that that's one of the problems with Argentina in general with its economy. It's the assistencialismo, how they call it, the fact that you have a public apparatus that is just continually spending money, and that's not an effective way to run a country. Because I mean, look, it's good that you can pay for, I don't know, people's healthcare. That's a good thing. No one has a problem with that. The problem is that of course you have to tax that, but the thing is that there's no more money. And Milei has gone on record many times. Like I don't know you've seen this. I don't know if we can put it in, but the video where he goes, Ministerio de Educación, afuera. And the
I
thing
love
about
him.
that video that
Mhm.
I noticed, and I tried to explain to a lot of people, is because everyone goes like, "Oh my God, he wants to get rid of the government of institution of the government." Yeah, but notice what he says. He wants to get rid of all of those. He wants to basically merge the ones that work, because he wants to reduce the state. But for some reason, everyone only takes only notices when he says he wants to get rid of the Ministry of Healthcare and the Ministry of Women. As those are the two ones that people focus on.
Yes, and I mean, in the case of in this case, Millet, we have seen the other stuff about him, and I mean, many people call him far right for that. I mean, I don't, I don't think he is, because if you, even if, let's say, I'm not saying these other guys are far right, but for example, compared to Donald Trump, Santiago Pascal, or Jair Bolsonaro,
Oh
this
God,
guy,
he's Mr. Rogers.
yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, Milei is actually fairly open to migration.
He's open
He
to a lot of things. It seems, to be honest.
Yes, I mean, but I mean, no, I mean, but this is curious. He's open to migration, but he says that migration is okay. It's good for a country, but and I mean Argentina is. If you say the people say the U.S. is a country of migrants, I think Argentina is more a country of migrants than the U.S. or other countries.
Oh, Argentina definitely
Yeah.
is. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
So
it's
I
it's the
mean,
whitest place on earth.
I think that's Uruguay.
I mean, you
I
notice it
oh,
when
okay,
you notice
yeah.
it. Look,
But
you
I
notice
mean,
it when every single Argentinian player, all their names are Italian.
and the other, I mean, but while these guys that I was mentioning, Bolsonaro, Trump, or Abascal, Orban, were against any kind of migration, legal or illegal.
Mm,
And in the case of Milei, what he wanted was to reduce the welfare state. I mean, and this is something something that has some sense. You cannot have open borders and a welfare state. And this is not a right wing political position. The Social Democrat Party in Denmark has been ruling Denmark like that. They have a welfare state, but they are tough on migration, even tougher than some right wing parties in other countries of Europe. And in other aspect that they differ a lot. I mean, Trump was really he got he was really protectionist towards the economy and pressured the Fed to print more money. I mean, Milei is on the contrary. Milei, we know what he has said about printing more money to solve short-term problems, and what he thinks about free trade among between countries. Right? This is uh, this is something really different from from the rest of the of these people that supposedly constitute the far right movement in the world. And of course, there's the other issue that he wants. I don't know if you saw these guys what he's expecting to do with education, the voucher system, copying it from Sweden.
I heard about it, but I'm not familiar with what is supposed to
Oh,
be.
oh, he's doing the Milton Friedman approach.
Hmm.
Because Friedman actually advocates school vouchers actually. And
Yes.
I actually thought that was a great idea. I mean, you'll never get that in Newfoundland, at least, because the unions will murder you in your sleep. But I thought that was wonderful. So I mean, if he's going to do that, like vamos Argentina.
Mhm. So, can you explain to me in very simple terms what that system entails, basically?
Well, basically, you pay your taxes for education, but the government instead of having a big scholar system, lets anyone open a school. So you decide which school you send your kids to, and you basically give this voucher to the to the school, and the school redeems it for budget. So
Mm,
this is what Sweden is doing. They and they make the people of uh, the schools of Sweden to actually try to be better and compete with the other schools may and and so they get the more students, and that means more students, more money. There are public
interesting.
schools in Sweden. You can send your kids to government schools, but there's also private schools, and you don't pay for directly to the institution. You pay your taxes, and the government gives you you give you education vouchers.
Yeah, it's a
Interesting.
great idea. I think it's wonderful, to be honest. So if he's going to implement something like this, like God bless him.
Yes,
I mean,
but
it's one of those things that, and perhaps this is the critical thing about Milei, is that I always say, despite what you want to think about his policies, whether he will they will succeed or not, because I mean, let's be honest here, like Milei is facing an opposition that is completely disloyal to him, disloyal. Is what does he represent? Because to me, it represents a symptom of the fact that the Argentinian people are already tired of the system that they have lived under for decades.
yes,
Mhm.
Because I will put it this way, as some I think it was Mario Vargas Llosa, you sent the tweet to me, Eduardo, that this election represents the death of Peronismo. It's the complete death of Peronismo as a political force.
One can dream.
Yeah,
if
maybe.
only yes. I mean,
But
this is important, Pablo. I think because what this is what you're saying is important in the sense that it, I mean, this is he won the presidency, right? But he's going to rely on the legislators of Macri and Bullrich.
mhm.
And I mean the provincial governors of Macri and Bullrich already close ranks with Milei. Milei has also been, I don't know if you saw he went to the United States to meet with not
Bill
only
Clinton.
with Bill Clinton and White House officials. He was I think he took a picture with Anthony Blinken and some other people there from the State
So some
Department.
people. So people in Chile were surprised that a president-elect will do a visit to the United States this soon, but I was like, I mean, it kind of makes sense.
I think the fact that he took a picture with Clinton and with White House officials, I think this is a sign that you know if you think so, the monetary establishment or the American establishment and the World Bank, and these other things like World Fondo Monetario Internacional, the International Money Fund. Well, the FMI in
IMF,
Spanish.
yeah.
Yeah, IMF. The IMF are backing Milei, and if you want the Davos Forum are backing Milei to to steer the wheel in Argentina. Um, I think there's a consensus with the people with the money and the power that Argentina needs to change ways and soon because the situation is getting out of control there. What do you think, guys?
See, I mean, it truly shows that he has the support. That's the important part because that's the thing that everyone was afraid that Milei wouldn't have support from not only the state but also abroad.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
What
And
do you
where
But the
the
think,
thing
hell?
Anthony?
is, like Malay, I have a good feeling about it. But now I've been hurt before by these kind of promises. They're like, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And then when they get in, they're like, this is kind of a pain in the rear. Or maybe I shouldn't do this right away, or I have to compromise. And the thing is with Milei is he can't compromise because the Peronistas, the socialists, all these like left wing people, they're not going to compromise. They never compromise. They give if you give them an inch, they're going to take 2 miles. Not even one. They'll take two because they
Yes,
know that you're weak. And Millet has to be. He has to like. I don't mean to swear, but he has to be an asshole.
True.
That's what Javier Milei has to be. He has to be a dick. That's
yes,
the best thing I can describe it as.
yes, and he needs to get rid of all the. I mean, we know it. Peronistas and Kirchneristas have the system occupied in every single position, important position. He needs
Mhm.
to get rid of them, like the chief of police, the intelligence services, the.
Yep.
I mean, he needs to get rid of all these people and start putting people maybe neutral or maybe that will work with him. I mean, this is a change of regime that he needs, and Milei has say this. This is what you said. Milei has said it in the past. You cannot deal with these people. You cannot deal with these communists. I mean,
I mean, he said it with a more characteristic Argentinian flair, a little bit with the
exactly.
cuss
Yes.
words, but I
Exactly.
agree with that statement because down here when they were discussing Milei, one of the things that they were saying, and mostly left wing talking heads, they were saying that they found his rhetoric aggressive. But the thing is that when you start to listen to what Milei has to say, he hits the mark on many things. When he says that you can work with them, he's right. Because consider what is the left in Argentina. You're dealing with the piqueteros. You're dealing with people who are not going to. They're not going to compromise. So he doesn't have to compromise, or at best, he doesn't have to negotiate with them. At the very worst, at least. But again, that's the thing with Argentina that a lot of people online don't understand because again, for some reason, everyone becomes an expert when something is on the news, and it's look, guys, the thing with Argentina is that you have a country that has been ruled by people with a particular penchant for socialist politics, and you also have very strong people in the workers' unions, the piqueteros, and all that stuff. So you have what they are basically pressure groups. They're
Yes.
lobbying groups, and that's something that happens all across Latin America. Here in Chile, la Central Unitaria de Trabajadores, the CUT, that's like one of the most prominent like workers unions. Those guys are extremely politicized. They are a very effective lobbying group. I mean, that's why I have like a distrust, or like I don't take people seriously who says, "Oh no, we need a union." You know that the only people in the unions who have the power are like a really small group that keep themselves in the power they themselves got in the first place, and that rarely ever works for the worker. Like it
Yes.
ends up being just a political party without the name.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, this is what Ferdinand de la Salle in his work, "What's a Constitution? What is a Constitution?" says that a constitution to properly work needs to represent every group of real group of power. I mean, in a country in which for example, Spain, in which unions are really strong, if the constitution suddenly uh, uh, takes away all the power, or the power quota of the unions, things are gonna go bad for the whole system. You need to every single uh, power holder needs to be represented in the constitution. This is the message of Ferdinand de la Salle.
Hmm. Now, I feel, and this is an important question I have to ask you guys because the basically the ripples of the election of Milei have also made a lot of people question. In particular, there's a comment about whether or not this means libertarianism is an ideology that people will get elected. I feel, and this is the important part, that Milei hasn't done anything yet. He's not sworn in as president. To me, I feel we should wait how the 4 years play out and whether or not we know if libertarianism actually works as an ideology and becomes hip, if we can use the word. But the interesting thing is that it's also sending signals to the Chilean right because no one was more scared from Milei's election than the Chilean left, especially with the process we're undergoing at the moment. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to segue. I'm just trying to like give context because in most of South America, the perception of Milei's victory, you have very different reactions. For one side, you have the left wing in many of these countries who say that this is dangerous. Petro said that this is the return of fascism, which is really funny.
So someone should take away Petro's Twitter account for real.
Not only that, they should be mercilessly mocked. I think Nayib Bukele did it because he I think it's like Petro
Oh
said
my
something about
god.
Petro said something about like fascism has returned to return. And then Nayib Bukele responded, now say it without crying. I mean, look, that's the kind of foreign policy I want. Someone posts text on Twitter. Okay, let's make fun of him. And the thing with the only comment that I considered kind of intelligent was Lula's comment, because Lula said that he doesn't have to like the president, he only has to talk to him, because
Yes.
he says something. I'm the president of Brazil. He is the president of Chile, Argentina, Uruguay, and it's kind of like an intelligent response, because he's saying, look, I don't have to like the guy. We only have to work together, and if he wants to work together, okay, we'll do it. And I'm like, yeah, that's like kind of the diplomatic approach. Like, to me, I don't know why is it that you have to immediately denounce your opponent as the rebirth of Hitler. I mean, it's funny because Boric didn't say that. In fact, and this is actually interesting. Boric apparently is gonna go to Milei's sworn-in ceremony.
I hope he gets an anxiety attack.
It's interesting because apparently some sources say that he's not gonna go, that he's gonna ask an ambassador to go, or I think he's gonna ask the vocera del gobierno Camilo Vallejo to go. I mean, he has to go, because one of the things that every president in Chile knows is that we always have to get along with Argentina. It's a historical neighbor. It's the one we share, the one of the largest borders in the world.
Yes.
And this is the important thing, is the fact that we're having an issue with the whole thing with the Mapuches in the south, because Argentina is having it too. And Argentina many times has told us these guys have weapons in the south of Patagonia, and they cross the border to Chile to give those weapons to other groups. And I remember that when Boric went to meet Alberto Fernandez just he scolded him for because one of the things that Boric did when he got to power was that he used the term the Mapuches used to refer to their homeland. I mean, the whole South America, which is again, that's another thing we're going to discuss in another episode. But he used the term Walmapu, which is the term they used to refer to Mapuche lands. It's a very politically charged term, and the thing is that his whole government did it. But then when he went to Argentina, Alberto Fernandez says, "Can you stop saying that?"
It's the from the river to the sea from South America.
Something like that. He told him, "Can you stop saying that? Because we're also having problems with Mapuches in the south, and you're legitimizing them." And out of nowhere, they stopped saying that to say Macrozona Sur, which is the name the military gives to the area of operations in the south of Chile. So the thing with Chile is that our position is, and I feel that what it should be, is that we should work together with Argentina. They're our neighbors. We share historical ties with them. Remember, San Martin, the guy who liberated Chile, was Argentinian. Actually, we offered him the presidency. He said no, which I don't know. I don't know how to feel about that. But we share that common history, and so to me is that we have to work together with them, because if they're doing better, we're also doing better. So to me, again, the reaction by many segments of the Chilean left is, you don't know what you're talking about, because we witnessed the collapse of one of the largest economies in the world, by the way, in record time, and we were doing actually much better. Like, Argentinians were looking at us like, why is it that they're doing better than us? And we, for a time, we were doing better. Now we're not. We're all the same.
Just a fun fact about Jose de San Martin. He participated in the Battle of Bailén, the first defeat the Napoleon army. A Napoleonic army was defeated on the field.
Mm-hmm.
He also participated in campaigns in Africa against Oran and other Moorish pirates.
And in Peru as well. He was active in Peru, because there is, in Lima, there is a place that I spent probably way too much time in, is Plaza San Martin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you are in Lima, avoid Plaza San Martin, please.
No, complete opposite. Go to Plaza San Martin. Argue with people. It's fun. I love that place.
But I mean, I remember saying that there was other kind of people there.
Oh yeah, there is. But I
Oh,
mean, it's funny though because you get to see them like what is the term you young people use? Spurg out.
Yeah.
It's quite hilarious actually. I always enjoyed the whole thing. So I mean, yeah, go to Plaza San Martin
Yes.
and argue with people. Have fun.
Uh,
yeah. It's again. I feel that is in general, as I said, it's just that it's a historic day, honestly, for Argentina, for the region, because how many years have we had left wing governments in Chile, in sorry, in South America, and for some it has been good, others a disaster. Pedro Castillo in Peru, um, Boric now in Chile, who is facing now perhaps a very important election now. Um, you have Brazil with Lula. So I always say this: South America is the continent where the pendulum not only swings, but it strikes harder every time. We go to one extreme, we return to the other. So to me, it's like, again, I say Milei is not the solution. He's a symptom of a much bigger problem in Argentina. And again, like what we said, it's pretty evident that he has the support that he desperately needs, because that's the thing that everyone was afraid of before he got elected, that he wouldn't have support. And but just by the way, I will tell you one thing. When I wasn't watching any election coverage, but I was like listening to the radio, and I remember that I listened to the radio in the morning, and it was like the polls are open, people are going to vote, and I was like, okay, let's see how this goes. And then I think it was like time having lunch. Put the radio, and Massa was conceding defeat, and I was like, this has to. And I was like, this can't be. This can't be that fast. And again, it's the results, because Millet won for like 12 points.
yes.
Like that's a really strong majority. And I'm looking at the results right now, because Millet won with 14 million votes, 14,476,462 votes, like 55.69% of the votes, and Massa by like something like 11 million. And looking at the regional map, because you can see it if you Google it, the regional map is already out. It's interesting that Milei won in Buenos Aires.
Yes.
Milei won in the capital, which is usually, and this is like a traditional thing. Like in Latin American politics, usually the larger cities don't tend to be like both right wing. It's really strange that they vote right wing. Although it depends on the location of this, on the part of the certain areas of the city. But it's again, it's interesting when you see it. The whole center of Argentina is Milei, and the north is went for Massa. So again, it's a crushing defeat. Like it's not like, oh, he could have won with this. No, it's complete, total defeat.
Yes.
And
Speaking of
again,
other total
mhm,
defeats, I just got to say this really randomly.
okay.
Venezuela qualified for FIFA, the World Cup.
No.
No,
They
no.
haven't
The Copa America.
Copa America.
Well, I mean, hey, it's still kind of a big deal because I mean, the only Venezuela is known for political failure and baseball.
One detail, Ernest. I'm sorry to correct you, but the thing is that traditionally in Copa America, all teams qualify, like
Yeah.
10 South American teams. In the case of this Copa America, they also went because they're one of the 10 CONMEBOL members. The thing that I thought you were referring to is the fact that Venezuela is doing a very very interesting campaign in the qualifiers.
Oh
It,
yeah,
it- it's
that's kind of what I meant too. But I mean, I still find it interesting, I guess. That they're that because I've seen them cheering in Lima. Like I was reading some papers and that. I was watching some things on Instagram with La Republica, and it was just like, what? was like, oh, that's nice. They have something to be positive about. That's good. Good for Venezuela.
I mean, it is for the football. I mean, they won against us, and
Well,
I
I
mean, look,
mean, hey, so
we
did
have
Peru.
we have almost like, according to recent numbers, there's like a 500,000 um Venezuelans supposedly in Chile, and I believe that there's more, but you actually feel it when you go out to the street,
Well,
out in
well,
the
now,
streets.
now, well, all those Venezuelans are now in Peru.
Yeah, like I think it's like 2 million Venezuelans in Peru.
There's probably a lot more than that, to be perfectly honest. They'll never admit it, but it's definitely what it is. But let's talk about our libertarian our interesting libertarian friend, because I mean, I got to admit, guys, I'm really fascinated by the fact that he won. Um,
Mhm.
I'm loving it, but at the same time, I'm kind of cringing because he is a bit of a weirdo. And I'm sorry I keep bringing that up, but I mean, it just blows my mind that because I'm as someone who's been a political candidate, I mean, albeit municipally, um, I found like the weirdo doesn't usually win. Um, and this is the one of the few cases where the weirdo wins. And it shows like how sick people were of the entire system, that they voted this dude who's literally goes on TV and like, I'm a tantric love coach. I can do all these weird things. Yada yada yada.
I
And I
mean,
mean, I know this isn't like something I should keep saying to define him, but I just find it absolutely hilarious. To be honest.
he's
It's funny.
he run a great campaign in that regard.
Yes, he did. He is a good campaigner. I give him a lot of credit.
uh,
I'm,
he's a showman. I mean, remember that he's someone who has spent years at radio shows, at the television. That there's a lot of videos. Again, I wish we can put some of those videos up because they're so funny. How he rips at everyone.
¡Zurdo de mierda!
O sea, ¿quieres estado? ¿Quieres estado? Te lo tengo acá, la
Yo
y,
no vine a liderar ovejas.
yo vine a liderar leones.
it'd be awesome if he went to all these places that he was planning on closing with like several pounds of dynamite and just blows up the bill. He's like, you know what? Look at this. Ministry of Social Welfare. Boom, blows it up. He's like, gone.
Afuera.
He's like,
Ministerio de la Mujer. Afuera.
just blows up the building itself, just demolishes it. And he's just like, you know what we're going to build here? Free trade facilities. And all you hear is the collective Argentinian left start shrieking out loud.
Dude, it's like I still remember, like, and this is the funniest thing, is that I remember someone saying that apparently that they tried to, because the thing about the campaign against Milei is that they did the exact same thing they do against any politician that it's against a left-wing candidate, and it's accusing him of the same things. They accuse him of being homophobic, they accuse him of being misogynist, they accuse him of being a racist. And it's funny that every time you see his interviews, he has defended himself from that. Like, for example, they ask him, what do you think about gays? And he said, oh, look, if they want to love each other, that's okay, I don't mind. And I was like, yeah, that's plain and simple. And when they asked him about I think about abortion, he has never talked about
No, no, no. He's really against abortion.
yeah,
He I mean, he has said that. I think his position is, yes, I'm against abortion, but and I'm not going, and the state is not going to pay for it.
which I think that and I've said this to you guys, like I don't want to get in the whole debate of abortion because it's like a whole can of worms,
Me
but
neither.
it's interesting. I think that position is one that a lot of people hold, because it's not that a lot of people are against it; it's a lot of people don't want to pay for it.
Yes,
I think that that's a libertarian. Again, that's a libertarian approach. He also
yes,
wants to take a. I remember that he said this. He wants to take a Chilean. He said it, a Chilean way of privatization, in that any public company that doesn't produces or doesn't brings in money is just gone. It has to go.
God bless him.
Like, he
yeah.
doesn't want to spend money on things that are not going anywhere. And a lot of people are saying that, oh no, this is a bad thing because no, no. Look, listen. When you have a country where pretty much most of your population, again, it's not just like 50% or 40%. No. 89% That was during the pandemic. Imagine how it is now. Relies on government welfare. There's just too much money going to the people. That can't happen. Where's the money going to public infrastructure to improve services? That's a huge problem. And remember, this guy is also, I think he's also an economist.
He is
Yes.
an economist,
Exactly.
a real one,
He has a PhD in economy.
and he's a libertarian. So I mean, like it's what is this here? Chicago Boys 2, Libertarian Boogaloo.
I mean, but this is something about these economic plans of him that I want to go down to the numbers. Well, not exactly to the numbers, but I was watching the guys from Visual Economic about his plans of you know uh, cutting expenditure, government expenditure, and all. I mean, he wants to achieve fiscal neutrality by the end of next year. I don't think he's gonna make it because
I don't think he will, but I think he's going to make a damn good effort if he's serious with cutting all the stuff he said.
yeah, I mean, he wants to cut regulation, he's going to privatize public companies uh, and cut subsidies. But not every subsidy. It seems he said that at least for gas he's going to keep the subsidy. But in he's also going to cut apparently many plans to cut many taxes, and this is going to these tax cuts might offset the other uh, expenditure the government expenses cut. This could be a problem for Milei. These two plans can offset each other.
Hmm. Well,
Hmm.
time is going to tell, though, because I mean, listen, the guy is an economist, and we'll see how this is going to turn out. Hopefully, it'll be successful. Am I holding my breath? Kind of. I think it's going to. I think he's going to be a bit of a challenge for him because I mean, what you theorize is not always what happens in practice.
Yes.
So theoretically, some of his ideas should be very, very good. But I mean, we also have to remember that this is Argentina, and they're not only being Argentinians but also Latinos. They like to protest a lot, so I mean,
Yes.
he's going to have
They
to be
do.
ready for
They
that.
do.
I mean, this is
I
someone
mean-
who, as resident of Peru, I kind of have to. I kind of speak from experience. I have never seen a day where I haven't seen someone over there protesting something or another, and
I mean,
not nice like here in Canada where they'll just like leave a sign and then go home. It'll be here.
mean-
It'll be like they'll burn your car.
Any protest in South America that doesn't end with at least one people killed is a dull affair.
Pretty much.
Because it's true. Because for example, down here in Chile, when there was the student protests, it was like pretty much every week, and you will have cars burned, buses destroyed, private property vandalized. And the thing in Argentina is that we're witnessing it. I remember seeing images of a protest, and it was kind of interesting because because Milei went to New York and he went to meet members of the Jewish community in New York, and because of that, the opposition to Milei decided to parade with Palestinian flags.
Yeah. Man.
I'm not going to go into detail because that gets to the whole Palestinian-Israeli conflict, which is not the thing we're talking about. But I still think that it's kind of interesting that, look, it was funny to see Milei with the with the kippah, the little hat.
Yes.
And then he was saying something about converting to Judaism, and I was like, oh my god, every single Argentinian and their grandpas are gonna be very mad.
Angry Antonio cast noises.
There's a meme. It's really funny. It's like when you don't ask an Argentinian why their grandparents have a German surname, and it's just like old Hitler with a gaucho hat.
Well, one thing I could see is like all I can imagine is Jose Antonio Cast doing like that thing from downfall. It's like 9 9 9 9.
Yes, it's
Remember,
like my
remember
Führer.
that in Hearts of Iron, there's a possibility of Hitler uh, running away to Argentina.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
Senor Hilter.
yeah.
Señor
Yeah,
Hitler.
Senor Hitler. Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
well,
exactly. It's like I already imagine Cass going like he's in his bunker and he's saying, "Say, sí, cuando sea presidente voy a ir a ver a Milei. I'm gonna see Milei." My Führer.
No, he's
Yeah.
in the bunker telling like an aged Hitler. I'm sorry, my Führer. The president of Argentina has converted to Judaism, and he's like, no, I lost hope for the Reich.
It's like it's like suddenly Milei converts to Judaism. Suddenly, massive exodus of Argentinians from Argentina. They say, "Hey, why you
But you know,
going
but
here?"
no, no,
My
no, no,
my
no, 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 no,
grandpa.
no, guys, Malay as a Jewish president, be like, that Argentine football team, Palestino, afuera.
Afuera.
no, Palestino is Chilean.
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
but
same
if he
thing.
plays the Libertadores
¡Afuera!
against if he plays the Libertadores against an Argentinian team, then I think that can work. Like Palestino afuera.
Oh,
Uh,
I think. Oh, I can't wait to see like that in Libertadores in Copa de America, or no, is it Libertadores? I think it is with the teams.
Yes.
Yeah, Copa de America
Libertadores,
is
yes.
the international. Yeah.
Imagine if Ajax from Amsterdam reach a Club World Cup, and Palestino does too. Imagine that
Oh
match.
wow.
The Golden Sonnen against the Palestinians.
You know the funny thing about Palestino is that they one time got in hot water because I think FIFA has guidelines regarding what kind of things you can put on your jersey, and one of the things that Palestino did because of their support for the cause is that they swapped the numbers for the map of Palestine, and you know the one I'm talking about, the one with the quote unquote historical Palestine. The thing is that FIFA and I think it was FIFA on officio basically what they're supposed to do, they give them a fine and they said you have to remove them because it's a political statement. And it's interesting that I've seen some stadiums in Europe where if you wear a Palestino shirt, they will actually remove you from the stadium because they consider it a political statement. I remember that there was a football match of Paris Saint Germain, and there was a video that went viral of a guy who was wearing a Palestino shirt and he was escorted out of the stadium. Now, I understand the guidelines of FIFA, but the thing is that, again, FIFA is corrupt. I mean, here's
Yeah, they
the funny
definitely did
thing.
all that during Qatar. Yeah, that was a
Yeah,
fun
yeah,
time.
like, I mean, remember in Qatar, and this is something I remember seeing in Qatar, the Moroccan football team proudly displayed Palestinian flags, and also the football fans displayed Palestinian flags, and they didn't say nothing. In fact, I don't remember there was a fine or anything like that in that occasion. So I guess again it's like extremely it's not okay in one time, but it's okay in the other time. The other thing that is interesting is that so you remove Russia from for the invasion of Ukraine. Okay, you move them from tournaments. Why you didn't do the same thing for Azerbaijan when it was invading Armenia? And and for the recent thing, why you didn't do with Israel with the whole thing in Gaza? I mean, you remove one for a war when you remove the other, but that's
Because
a whole
Israel wasn't the aggressor.
well, if you put it that way. I'm, or also the thing is that I think because Israel plays in Europe and Palestine plays in Asia, so I don't think it makes a lot of sense. Well, Israel plays in Europe because you know that Israel one time played in the Oceania Football Confederation, in the FSA.
Yes.
So for anyone listening, yes, Israel, because of the qualifiers, I remember that the first time they played for the qualifiers, no team wanted to receive them in the stadium, and because of security reasons, they had to move to the OFC, which is the Oceania Football Confederation, where yes, you will find out Israel playing in a stadium in New Zealand. After that, they went to Europe, where they have remained ever since.
And well, I wanted to comment on this new, because this is a change in the foreign policy of Argentina too. I
Yeah,
mean, Mil, every single Latin American president, at least the big ones, like from the big countries, like Alberto Fernandez, Lula, Petro, AMLO, are unabashedly supporting Russia and Palestine. Milei
Yeah,
is supporting the Israel and Ukraine, which for me is good news. I mean, you
it's
know, guys, I want to see Ukraine winning this war,
of
and
course.
I want to see
Same,
Israel winning the war. They
same.
this is going to I think this is going to be important for the future of. I'm not important for the future of Latin America, but I mean this is there as a friend when the war in Ukraine started. A friend said on Twitter because AMLO didn't want to talk with I think some an Ukrainian delegation wanted to talk to Congress here in Mexico, and they weren't allowed. So uh, the I mean, some people actually wanted to talk to this delegation. I mean, citizens, not legislators, not maybe not people in politics, but citizens wanted to listen to what Ukrainians wanted to say. And I think there's a lot of I mean maybe as supporters of Ukraine and Israel, we are not as loud as the badniks supporting Russia or the delusional people supporting Palestine. I think Milei can show us that it's okay to talk about these issues from the other side of the spectrum.
Exactly. No, you put give my perspective. I think the thing with the support of Palestine in Chile is that, well, of course, as I mentioned before, we have a large Palestinian community. Now, it's interesting because the stance of our country officially has always been the two-state solution. Now, Boric hasn't referred to anything, but everyone knows that deep down he supports Palestine. In fact, every single left-wing president supports Palestine. It's interesting to see a president in South America that supports Israel, because I think that there haven't been so many that openly will support Israel. Because even our right-wing presidents, for example, Sebastián Piñera, the guy who, according to the left, is the embodiment of all evil, the one who was pretty much ousted by the Estallido Social, he visited Palestine in a state visit. There's pictures of him with Mahmoud Abbas, the president of the Palestinian Authority in Ramallah. So again, it's interesting to me to see a president in South America to openly support Israel. Now, I agree with you, Eduardo. I wish Ukraine wins the war against, of course, Russia, an aggressor. In the case of Israel and Palestine, I think that my biggest issue is that I know people who are for the side of Israel. There's friends of mine who are supportive of Palestine. I feel I have made certain comments that I'm not really proud of it. But I think my overall position is I really dislike the fact that a lot of people are cheering on the death of civilians, but also the war crimes we're witnessing at the moment. And it's something that, look, I know that it's like a centrist position to take, and honestly, if someone is mad at it, I don't care. For me, the problem is that I'm not really happy at how many of the things that we're witnessing that are happening down there are being seen by the people. Like I said in the first time we talked about the conflict, my problem is that there's a lot of things being passed down as truth, which are not. And as I've said many times, my thoughts and prayers go for the civilians because they are the ones who are suffering the brunt of this. Not the IDF, not the Hamas terrorists, the civilians.
I
And
mean,
that's a point I'm not going to compromise on. The fact that that's the one I thinking about, what the civilians,
Hey,
because they're the
I
ones
just
who are
I just want
being.
to say one
Mhm.
one thing,
Go
like
ahead.
the one thing I think, and this is something I'm really shocked no one talks about, is that no one is everyone talks about like Israeli war crimes and how they need to be prosecuted for it.
Hmm.
Nobody really says like maybe we should take the Hamas leadership that is hiding in Qatar and put them on trial for the war crime, because I mean we all seem to have forgotten the what was it 1,500 dead Jewish people, men, women, and children, lots of children that
Exactly.
were slaughtered.
And
That,
I want to take in of these people how the civilians in Gaza reacted when their corpses were being paraded on the streets. I mean, they were cheering. If you ask me, if they bomb the people that were cheering for these dead women, the rape women, dead babies, I'm not gonna shed a tear for them.
like I
Honestly,
said, like I said before, and my dad told me, this is not a modern war. It's a religious war being fought with modern weapons. And because of that, it's a really, really ugly conflict. And that's an aspect that I feel that people have also been ignoring, because everyone tries to say, no, this is not an ethnic conflict, oppressor against oppressor. No, no, no. This is a religious and ethnic conflict. And it's for that reason that, and again, look, you guys have your opinions, I have mine. I
yeah,
feel that the one thing we can all agree is, again, that the civilians are the ones who are going to suffer the most, regardless of who
100%.
wins. 100%, regardless of who wins. And I've known people. There's one of my friends, one person who I really love, has is really invested in this whole thing, especially with the side of Palestine. I don't have a problem with anyone being supportive of one side or the other, and I'm not going to try to have their opinion change or ask them to change their opinion to suit anyone. No, because that's what you want to think, especially when it's something that, depending on who it affects, or I don't know, like, there's people who have family down there. There's people who have been raised by people who have been affected by this conflict. I'm not going to try to change your opinion of it, because your experience is clearly different from mine. I have no relation to the people down there. I have no family members. I never met anyone. So that's why, to me, it's an ugly conflict that we're currently witnessing, because the
yes,
difference with the Ukrainian and Russian war is that that's a 21st century war. It's a war over territory. It's a war that has been it's a war that is probably being it was going to happen eventually as a post-Soviet state. But this other war is different. It's a religious war that, if it wasn't being fought with assault rifles, drones, and mortars, it would be fought with swords and spears. So again, it's an ugly conflict, and I want to explain myself as clear as I can. I don't have a problem if someone supports either side of the other, because that's what they want to think. You want to think what you want to think, it's okay. I'm not going to try to change your mind on it, because that's not the point. My only problem is, I don't want people to just be so supportive of the violence we're witnessing. That's the thing that I find sickening.
yes, okay. Okay, going back
That
to
was really
Milei,
dark.
to the topic. Yeah,
That was really dark.
going back to Milei.
Hmm.
I think we haven't addressed one big issue with his campaign and the dollarization he's proposing. What do you think about it, guys?
Oh, that's like that's the thing that I remember. A lot of people were giving him a lot of bad flag over it, because the only thing I will say is this: just because other countries have done it doesn't mean that works flawlessly. Because even in Ecuador, they were having problems.
Oh, don't remind me. I remember. I don't. I actually have flashbacks when I had to pay $3 US for a freaking cup of coffee.
In Ecuador?
Oh, yes, in
Yes.
Guayaquil. It was insane. I got off the plane. I was like, oh, okay. I got off the bus and I was like, oh yeah, this is gonna be great. You know, Ecuador. It's probably gonna be affordable, even though it's US dollars. And it was like, nope, $3 US for a freaking cup of coffee. $7
Yeah,
for or no, it was $7 US for umita.
to me, the whole thing with the dollarization is that I understand the concept on principle, because it suggests the idea that, because the money is not printed there, is basically the ones who inevitably control it is not in the hands of the government, is up there in North America, in the United States. the problem I have is that it's not simply just okay, we're gonna switch from pesos to dollars. No, you have to completely change a lot of things. It's restructuring the economic system of Argentina to suit dollars.
Well, I mean,
And
like to be
mhm,
honest, I mean, the Argentinian economy is kind of crippled beyond repair right now as it currently stands. So, I mean, it's going to need restructuring anyway. Do I support dollarization? Not exactly. Do I think that it's a possibility? Sure. I don't know how good it's going to be. I don't know the shock that it's going to bring to the Argentine economy. I could see purchasing power going down a lot at first because as people convert their pesos to dollars, I think the exchange rate's going to be pretty bad. So you're going to see a lot of people see their savings kind of be damaged. Some people maybe even irreparably damaged.
Yes,
But
uh-huh.
yep, no, go on, go on.
I mean, we have seen dollarization in Ecuador, El Salvador, and Panama. Compared to Argentina, those are really small economies.
mhm.
Argentina is a country in population the size of Canada, but and just by the numbers, that's a massive economy compared to those. It's a bigger economy than with all other three put together. I think in this case, and I don't think Argentina has right now the enough big enough reserve of dollars to actually implement that.
No, they really don't. So I mean, I think Millet is kind of like talking out of his pato right now for that. Um,
In the long term, maybe.
may now Eduardo, that's a big maybe.
Yes, yes,
I
yes.
mean, like like you said, I mean, compared to like what we see like Ecuador and Panama and El Salvador, I mean, yeah, this is small scale. I mean, it's easy for him to say like, oh, we'll just dollarize the economy. But I mean, this is going to require a massive effort. It's going to irreparably change the Argentine economy, which I mean is garbage as it is. I mean, I have an Argentinian friend. Well, his parents are Indian, but he was born and raised in Argentina. And he every time I talk to him, he's like, "Oh, you know, the economy here in Argentina sucks. You know, my parents have a really had a good export business, and because of the way the economy is, it's just bad." And I'm just like, "Oh, okay." So I was like, "How do you feel about the new president?" Um, he's like, "I'm hopeful. I'm not really political though," which I found was the strangest thing I've ever heard an Argentinian say to me. I'm not political. But you know, I know like my left wing Argentinian friends, ones who I went to university with, they're kind of rolling around on the floor shrieking right now. Um, you would swear to God that Senor Hilter has just emerged from the bunker and has just started ruling over the country.
I remember there's a in the I don't know guys if you listened to the podcast I went last week, uh, but
I'm too busy with exams right now. I will when I get finished with this semester.
okay, don't worry. There's an episode from that podcast about Hitler going to Argentina, and I mean it's a really funny episode because he becomes a football coach.
Well, I mean, he does have leadership skills. Um, not very good ones, but still. But I mean, like, if Millet is going to be like the next Senor Hilter, are we gonna have are we gonna have the Peluche youth?
Yes.
They'll all have like instead of like the little armbands, they'll have like little wigs on, and they'll just run around like doing libertarian things. They were like all these things afuera, and it'll just like shut down. They'll just have like a little like it'll be like the Red Guard meets the Hitler Youth. So they'll just go around denouncing like government spending. They'll make everyone have like struggle sessions where it's like, I have spent too much. I've used too much of the state's resources. I am ashamed of myself. I apologize.
Ernest, when you say Senor Hitler, that reminds me that there's a spitting image sketch of Margaret Thatcher meeting Hitler. Hitler apparently lives nearby, and the guy's like an old man that she's unaware that he's Hitler. And it just reminds me, is that going to be the same thing with Milei? Milei's just going to he's just going to go around the neighborhood and says, "Hey, hola, Mister Hitler."
Speaking of spitting image, did you guys ever see the one where Boris Johnson tries to summon the spirit of Margaret Thatcher?
Oh yeah, so
that was my favorite one. And you have what's his name there, the former health secretary who got like sacked. He's like, I'm hiding in fear. And then it's like, we have to sacrifice someone. Oh well, who is it? Oh God, what was his name? I used to make fun of him so much. And then he actually kind of did a 180 and surprised me by getting stealing somebody's wife, which I thought was hilarious. That was a fun episode of British politics, by the way, when that dude just like seduced his staffer, and stole her from her husband. But yeah, no. It was quite funny actually. Yeah, that one there. I'm trying to remember the guy's name now. It's actually bothering me. But maybe in the next episode I'll remember.
Yeah. So
that's a good one. Yeah. So that's enough, guys, for today.
yes, I hope you like the episode today.
Mm-hmm.
We have been talking about Javier Milei and what it might mean for Argentina. I mean, it's a long shot. I mean, but he needs to. I think the first thing he needs to is to get a hold of the regime.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you want to add anything else, guys?
Nope. It's just good to be able to be back on the show again. Keep talking about these fun topics.
Yes.
And I'm going to see if I can get some Argentinians on. Maybe we can get like a left and a right perspective on the entry of El Peluche.
Yes. Pablo, anything else?
I feel that again with the whole topic we're talking about is one might. I feel that the whole thing with the online discourse regarding politics is that it inevitably becomes toxic, and you sometimes need people to like be your cable to the ground. Because yeah, I might talk about the left wing in Chile is getting mad and all this stuff, but I think the problem overall is that you're so used to seeing the worst parts of people online, and that's why you tend to like start to have a very narrow view of the world. The only thing I will say is this: I don't have to like Milei as a person. I just only have to say the Argentinians elected him. He's the president. That's all. Let's see how he's gonna go, because he has 4 years to rule. That's a long time, especially now.
Yes. So,
I think that's enough.
yes, I think this is all for today, guys. Thank you everyone for listening. We're returning next week for a really interesting and complicated topic.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because the next Sunday in Venezuela, there's going to be a referendum to create the resolution that they has accepted that Esequibo wasn't part of Venezuela and was part of Guyana. So expect an episode about this. It's going to be interesting because things are heating up in there. Thank you everyone for listening and have a good night.
Have a good night, guys.
Good night, everyone.